The original idea came from looking at bees and thinking about the space that they occupy. It's actually called bee space, it's a technical term, and they will only comb in spaces that are greater than a quarter inch, and ideally around 5/8 inch. So this ideal space gives them the best kind of comb. And at the top of that, that's going to be the honeycomb, and at the bottom, that's going to be the darker comb. And I began thinking, knowing the science, can we work with the bees to create something? So I started carving this wooden face. Uh, the face was going to be about as big as one of the supers in the hive, and I wanted it to be a very pronounced face so that when they combed over it, we would actually still see facial distinctions there. So I covered the whole thing with honey and then we put it in the hive, or I suppose it's more accurate to say that we built the hive around the sculpture itself. We still had some frames in the bottom just so the bees could have their normal to do. And if they didn't want to participate in the art project, then they wouldn't have to at all. But I was hoping the honey would sort of incentivize them to actually begin combing on the sculpture and making some choices. So then we closed it up and it was really a waiting game. And after a few months, you could see they actually had started on the sculpture already. And what threw me is that they had chosen a section, and that's a bit of an unfair word, but they began combing just on the face. Uh, and they had still filled the bottoms with honey doing normal bee things, but they really started to fill in this empty space with their freeform combing. And then you see towards the end of the season, this is what we had, this really incredible bit of natural art that the bees are just doing their thing, but um, working with the design I had given them, they had completely covered the face. Now, unfortunately, we had a really sad winter and a mouse had gotten in there, so the bees did not make it through the season. So when I finally went to go open the sculpture, and this is about a year or so from the time that they had originally gone in, um, this is what they had left. This was sort of their the hive's legacy right here, and I thought it was absolutely stunningly haunting and just a really cool piece of work.